Hi, I'm Elizabeth Sherman, and today I'm doing an interview with Bob Bauer. He talks a lot on the Oakwood Service Center, his time with politics, and other fun memories. Joan Parsnick is joining me in the interview as well, so you will hear her on this video. So yeah, enjoy my interview with Bob Bauer.
My great-grandfather is the first one I remember, and he lived on Great Gully Road, which I live on Great Gully Road, in property that belonged to the Bauer Gilligan clan. They mixed. Gilligan was in the farm that I'm on. Bauer owned everything west of that, and it just kind of joined together. We have built a house on Great Gully Road. Actually, the kids live in that most of the time because we live down on the lake nowadays, but it's, we still got the property.
Is the original house still there?
Yes, actually, Michael and his family are in that.
Oh.
Yeah, the Gilligan house. The Bauer house is still there, but no longer belongs in the Bauer family, so, yeah.
Have you done the genealogy? Do you know about what year they built that? Or?
Oh, I do, but it doesn't come to me.
Uh-huh.
It was way early. Both of those
800,
names,
1800.
the Gilligans and the Bauers, were some of the earlier people put on roots.
Settlers.
Yeah. Of course, he come in on the German surge. The Bauer side did, and she come in on the Irish surge, and but they ended up there. So.
Very good. It's very interesting. What would you say is a favorite memory of growing up in the area? You have one.
I grew up in the area. Actually, it was a fun place to grow up. I've got absolutely no hang-ups about being a kid at all. We lived, when I was young, right next door, the next house down the road. It doesn't belong to us at this time. The Bauer family and the Gilligans were all up on Great Gully Road. Mm-hmm. But my dad bought that place because none of those had emptied out yet. And so that's how I ended up with this, because I knew the man that owned it, Mr. Whaley. And he was good to me.
Yes.
So he wanted me to have it. So.
Your dad, he had a business next door.
Yeah, he did the lawnmower repair, saws, sharpened saws, that kind of stuff, and worked at the Beacon Mill in Cayuga.
Oh.
So, because we had to have an income when somebody saw it didn't need to be sharpened. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
So did you start in that business working for him?
Yes. Actually, as a little kid, we were putting together new lawnmowers and so on. I mean, it was there, something to do and able to, and he showed us how. So, yeah. And then as I got older and interested in cars, he had built a big part on that, used part of it for a store, and the rest of it was still unused, had a dirt floor in it. I dug a hole down into it so I could get it under cars and work on cars in that building. So it's, and would come up here and bother these guys for tools and information and so on. So that's probably how they decided this kid ought to have that place. So it's, but anyway.
So what were they doing here?
This was a gas station with 2 bays, and they had fuel oil trucks, gasoline delivery and fuel oil. In fact, that business all came with this when I bought it down here in Oakwood. I don't know if you remember the big buildings along the railroad tracks and so on there, and big tanks that all belonged to this Clark and Whaley business. There was a coal elevator that the coal would come in by rail. Then they closed the rail so you couldn't get the coal in that way anymore. And the fuel oil and gasoline would come by rail, and that all had to come by truck. And things just changed after, just petered out as it got older. I wasn't interested. That was dirty, hard work. And so we just sold that off. That all we sold to Don Elliott.
As time went on.
As time went on. And we went on with another direction, started adding on to this. That's right. Added down the 3 bays on the other side. One of those bays was built specifically as a body shop, because I was able to do body work and nobody else in the area was doing it. Then that become 3 full bays of body once we built this. And now I'm not running it at all. Don't have anybody in there. You can't find people to work. So we closed it. The way that is.
Well, maybe you'll find someone.
Yeah.
We're always looking. Always looking.
Yeah.
This industry has a lot of women in it as far as that goes. It's that 25 years ago was almost unheard of. But it's these cars are pretty sophisticated. It takes the mind of these people to sort them out, because I'm still monkeying around with something that had spark, and that stuff's all electronic, jibber jabber back and forth from one another with speech of its own language.
Yeah.
They fit sometimes. That's the problem.
You can't understand what it's trying to tell you. It's not a matter of just checking, see if there's power there. Yeah, that's right.
Yes. So, what changes have you seen through the years? Just
Oh, good Lord. In this industry, the gasoline industry, for one, there's almost no such thing as a gas station other than these things with a top over them. You go and pump it yourself. There's no little garage where the guy will come out and check your oil and put a little water in your windshield washer tank and give the kids a candy bar or something. That's just not there anymore. So that contact for this type of business doesn't happen. That's how you got to know everybody in the community, because you saw them at the gas pumps. That's the biggest change that I can think of. There's nobody running a garage and gas pumps at the same time. It's just not happening. So,
no, I would have liked to have, gone to one of those experience.
it was an experience. We weren't a big gas station, although we had 4 gas pumps out there. We sold about 3,000 gallons of fuel a week through that, and then we're delivering fuel to the homes and so on. But it took 2 people to run those gas pumps, putting there to run back and forth and pump the gas and that kind of stuff. Now you go in and do it yourself with a credit card and go on your way and just accept that as the way life is. Yeah, we used to clean their windshields and check their oil and put a little windshield washer solvent in if I needed it and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Don't do that anymore.
No, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Well, the people contact, I think, is what I think we miss out on the most.
Yeah. Sure.
Because at that time, of course, I grew up in the area, but I've lived here my whole life. I knew practically everybody, because at one time or another, I was pumping gas in their car and talking to them, talking to little kids, give them an ice cream cone or a candy bar or something. When you see them come in and say, well, you've got 3 kids in there, I'll take out 3 candy bars and give it to them, and just, and so you got to know the kids when they were little, all the way up through to become good customers over the years, so
Yes.
you miss that contact. You do, yeah.
Yes, that's what I like about growing up in a small town, small area, because you can get to know a lot of people. And I went to school at Union Springs, and you know everybody, and you grow up with them. I graduated with John, so your grandson.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. They, yeah. I can't think of my grandkids being graduated out of high school. But it's a fact, Jack. Get over it.
Yes.
Do you remember going, what the school was like when you attended? Because you attended Union School.
Oh, yeah, I attended. Yeah. Oh, let's see. They hadn't built any of the new part, the new auditorium, or we were still using what they're calling an auditorium or something now as the gym.
Yeah.
In the gym part and all that building wasn't even there. Mm-hmm. And one addition on the north end of it wasn't there. I don't know which the last one was they put on down there, and we had all of the kids in the one school. We didn't have an elementary in Union Springs, and they did have in Cayuga. Now that's gone.
Yeah.
Not enough kids. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's gone through quite a cycle when you think of it like that. We had 3 buildings to split them all up, and I could get them all back in the one big school, if they wanted to.
Yeah, they really could.
Yeah.
I imagine at some point they will. You won't have they'll get rid of AJ and then just be the high school, I would think.
Yeah, but that's not helping our community.
No,
we can't let the community keep getting smaller and
No.
smaller again. So I mean, it's
No.
we need to change this zero population growth mentality to let's have a
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. No, I know that's why they closed Cayuga was because the amount of the kids going to school was reduced.
Oh yeah,
But it could be reduced
costing way
again.
too much,
but
right.
I hope not.
Right.
But
Yeah, I don't know how much that's all apartments or something, right? The school? Is that what they did?
I think that's the plan. I don't know
Okay.
if
I
they've
don't know if
finished it or if
it's- yeah.
they've opened it. I'll have to ask my dad. He would know.
Right, yeah. If that's apartments, that's been sold, because I don't think the school can spend our money doing something like that. So it's probably been sold to an individual.
Yes.
Do you have any stories or things that happened in high school that are fond memories or funny memories?
Of high school?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to go there.
And you just
We
generally.
were fun kids. We had a lot of fun. We were very fortunate. Had a lot of fun. And, yeah.
Well, any fun memories outside of school that you want to share? Or no,
I got a lot of memories, but there's not many of them I can share. It's just not fair there was a group of us that just kind of worked together as a team, and we pretty much ruled the roost around here as far as teenagers were concerned. And
Yeah.
we had a lot of fun. Lot of fun. And in all fairness, the school teachers and the ones in charge knew we were having fun. They would, my mother worked in the school, so that was helpful as far as that goes. But they'd get me off to one side and say, now we know what you boys are up to. Don't get caught. I'm telling you that because if you do, I've got to throw you out of school. So keep it quiet.
Yeah, you can do it, just don't.
Don't flaunt it. That's right. That's right. But that, and I assume that still goes on. I have no idea. I hope the kids if they have half the fun I had going through high school, they are having the ball.
Yeah. No, it still goes. No, it still kind of goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they're a little bit more strict about it.
Well, some of the stuff that was not there when we were kids. So anything that we got into, you unscrewed the bottle cap on. It wasn't taking a pill and, oh my God, you can take a handful of them, so let's see what happens. And, you just couldn't kill yourself with that stuff. You get darn awful sick. You learn your lesson, but you didn't kill yourself. Which, in my opinion, is okay. They got to learn their lessons.
Yes.
Some of that's a little scary.
Were you in sports?
No, I was not. I was very active in the Future Farmers Group.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, what it?
We had, we had a big ag program there. Big ag program. Well, when I was in high school, we had a new ag teacher that was young and ready to do something, and they hadn't. And some of us had connections enough to come up with the money, and we rented a big farm in Cayuga and farmed it. Actually had about 140 acres that we farmed and bought equipment for, paid for out of that. It was a good lesson for us. That was 4 years of that learning and doing it. And then I went on to an advanced year because I was young. I was 17 when I graduated, so I might just well get another year out of this. A lot of fun. And they put me more as an instructor type than a learner. And it was, you look at it now and you go, it all went down the tube, but it's not that it went down the tube, the kids aren't there. They just aren't there. I mean, there was 155, I think, in my graduating class. I
Yeah.
don't know what a class size is now.
Well, mine, when I remember mine being 75, and that was in 2018.
So it's about half.
So,
Yeah. But we come through as the baby boomers when they come back from World War II.
yeah.
You know, I mean, that's how come there were so many of us. And there was a whole crop of us there for about 10 years that was bigger than normal crops.
Yeah. I mean, I think my class, because it was 2000, started off big, but then a lot of kids would move away, and then it just got down lower and lower. We got to about 75, but it's about, and then I think after me kind of was in kind of the 60 range. I don't know what it is now. But
You
I
notice
remember-
that in the housing development and so on in the communities. There was, I mean, 20 years ago, there was new housing going up everywhere, and now people are fixing the old housing. And a lot of that stuff that was built too cheap then is being just obliterated, just gone,
Yeah.
that's all. But it's, the big old houses and stuff are still out there, but nobody's building that little junk stuff that might blow away. So it's a good thing, but it shows that we don't have the people. We don't need that housing. So that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Now I don't live in a family home. I'm on the family farm up on Great Gully Road.
Yeah.
We built a new home up there. But my son lives in my great grandparents' house. So I mean that's been in the family
Yeah.
forever. And it's gone down through from my brother living into it to now my son's in it, and I assume he'll pass it on to somebody like that. And the farm still belongs to
Yeah.
it. So
Yes.
that's the Gilligan property,
Yes.
the Bauer property, which adjoined it, got sold off quite a few years ago.
But yeah, it's,
Did you farm it?
Uh,
Did your
my grandmother, yeah, my grandfather did. My grandfather had a tendency to indulge too much, so he wasn't real reliable, faithful about getting out there to take care of the crops like he should. If he was on a bender, he was on a bender. Didn't care. The whole thing could burn for all he cared. So that was kind of the demise of that, the Bauer side of that, and it finally got sold off. The Gilligan side of it that we're on, which is the next farm up, that didn't happen in that one. That stayed Gilligan right up through to, so yeah. So it's Bauer now, but it was Gilligan Bauer.
yeah.
Did you meet Linda in high school?
Linda's an Auburn girl. So no, I met her after out of high school. And it just worked. They we didn't have a real problem with Auburn girls, but at that time you were a little hesitant of them because it was a little different culture than we had in the country.
Just a little.
And I don't know whether it's more married together now or not. I have no idea. But at that time, it was if you were an outside country boy coming into the city, you had a lot of explaining to do to her parents who you were and what you were looking for. So it's that's but she we just hit it off. But we were let's see, she graduated the year I met her, and I'd been out 2 years at that point. So so, and then we were about 2 years before we got married. So we'd known each other 4 or 5 years before we got married. Yeah.
And how many years now?
Oh, good Lord, I had no idea.
A long time.
Oh, long thing.
Steffi,
Oh, God, yes. Oh, God, yes. Yeah, it must be, because, yes. Yeah, it'd have to be. Yeah, because I'm 76, and I was 21 when I got married, so that's, yeah.
Yes. My mom, grew up in Union Springs, and my dad is an Auburn boy, so it's the other way around, but it's the same.
Yeah, but there always was the country folk and the city folk.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was when we dated, as far as that goes.
Yes.
Oh, she'd get warned by some of her city seniors that, you watch out for them boys from the country, and I don't know what we were, whether we were supposed to be throwing our saddles at them because we come in on a horse or what. I have no idea, but that was kind of the way that everybody was treated. But it worked out fine.
Yeah.
Actually, my father-in-law was quite well acquainted with Union Springs.
Yeah.
He was a avid hunter and fisherman, and rather enjoyed the hotel. So
Yeah.
it was, he was in Union Springs a lot before I ever knew him. So it's
Yeah, you mentioned the hotel. So there's probably a lot of changes, not only the hotel, but many other businesses that have changed right in Union Springs or the area.
Yeah, now the Union Springs Village, what's left there now, was all full of businesses that I was going. Nice, five and dime stores and a big drug store and a hardware store, 2 grocery stores. But it was all on the west side. There was, other than the car dealership on the opposite side of the road, there was never any industry on the other side of the street that I recall. But that, and then back of that, down towards the lake, there was little stores and so on, in houses down through there. Going to be selling cakes and making cookies and that kind, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. It's a nice little village. It's a nice community
Yes,
to grow
it
up
is.
in. Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
We don't have any complaints with customers. I mean, we go to quite a few conventions, you might call them, for our business, the towing business especially. The people that run that services in the bigger areas, in the cities and so on, still have the problems that we remember as young people in the area. We don't have that. I mean, even in the cities, you can go into Auburn and get treated just as good as anybody else. You're not that guy that runs a garage someplace, or something like that. We don't have any issues like that. No. Lucky.
It's very lucky.
Yeah.
I know my family certainly thinks a lot of you and
Well, your family's been very good to the community. Very good. Yeah, absolutely.
so.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome, neighbors.
Yes. Started the business in 1973.
Yes, it was an operating garage, had 2 little bays on it, and then it had the fuel oil business. They made most of their work was delivering fuel oil, gasoline, and coal. And then the garage came with it, so they ran it. But it's, yeah.
Yes.
So, but it grew as soon as we started in it, and they knew that I was a mechanic and was working on cars and so on. And it just started growing, and it just grew faster than we could ever have imagined it to do. We'd add on, and that wasn't big enough, and you'd add on again, and that wasn't big enough. Finally, he says, well, put something on there that's big enough. It's never going to happen. Well, now we're trying to plan how to add on to that and not have to modify the whole field out there, because we're 4 foot above the level of the field out there and back, so it drops off. So we're not sure. We don't want to go on a split level building, so we're going to have to probably bring in enough fill to bring that up, or scrape it off the field. I own the field, so we can pile it up. But it's but we could easily add 10 more bays without any problem at all.
Yeah.
We can get help enough to operate it. That's the next thing. But I don't find it's much harder to get 10 guys to work than it is to get 3. As long as you're a good place to work and pay them for it well, treat them well, you just have to look further to get them hired.
Yes. We're very lucky to have you in the area.
Well, we're very lucky to be in this area.
Yes.
We travel in the wintertime generally, my wife and I.
Yeah.
So you get a chance, of course, being in that industry, you get a chance to chit-chat with
Yeah.
people. And there's people still got the misconception, if you're from New York, you're from New York City.
Oh, yeah.
They stand back up practically when you say you're from New York. So you say, no, we're from upstate New York, up where the lakes are. Okay. And then they'll stand and talk to you, and then they'll say, oh, how's things going up there, and say, oh, go good where we are. We're right out in the country, for God's sakes. It's, but we're extremely busy. Oh, that's good. So it's,
Yes.
but, at one time, it's practically you almost had to carry a sign with you that you were. I'm not from New York
the
City.
We mean the state itself, not the city.
And I don't think that's got as bad a reputation now as it once had, but it certainly was at one time something you just didn't even want to mention the word.
It's good to hear that business is expanding in this area and that you're going to do something. It's really good to hear because there's so many businesses that seem to have had trouble over COVID time. And
The COVID has been an issue for all of us. It's like, you never can get enough help. And when a third of them are out sick, and it's not like they're sick for 2 days. It's about 2.5 weeks, something like that, when they're down with it. And we change appointments, call and say, we had an appointment for you. We're not going to be able to do it now. If you want to go someplace else, we understand, but we just don't have the help because of the sickness. But I think right now we've got 4 that are out on the sick list. So that's not really bad because I got 9 or 10 still here. So we have about 16 in the building employees generally, but I have about 22 operators for the trucks. Because those are a 24-hour a day, and you never know when. And and they're all on a will call. I got a whole list of them, know what their schedules are. Some of them work nights, so I can get them in the daytime. Some of them work days, so I can get them in the middle of the night. But that all depends on whether people are crazy or if there's something going on in the community. If you have one of those concerts at the lake or something like that, and have 20,000 cars up there, you're going to have at least 4 or 5 wrecks out of that before they're done. It's just the way it is. People get silly, crazy, or something happens to them.
Yeah.
a lot of cars.
Well, yeah, they scrambling. Everybody's trying to get first. It's more getting out than it is getting in. There's very few usually when they're loading in and filling the parking lots. But when they go to leave, nobody wants to wait for that guy ahead of them that's already started out into the lane, and it's just human nature, apparently.
Have you seen any change in the churches from when you first arrived or when your family was first here? How they changed or disappeared? Or
Well, there's certainly a lot less people there on Sunday than there was. We're Methodists. My grandparents' side and so on, they were Catholic. The Irish were absolute Catholics and never understood how we were become Methodists. I said, well, that's what my mother was, so that's what we all ended up in, which is, they finally accepted it. And now they're gone. They can't grumble about it, there was many more churches when I was a kid in the village. There was, what is that one that I think it's a Catholic church now that was
the Legion?
no, it was the Presbyterian, I think, across from the Methodist. There's a Methodist, and the one across the road's got the pretty windows in it, I think was Presbyterian, and I think that's a Catholic church now, right?
Catholic church.
Because they come down off of they were up by the Legion there in that little white church.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one whole church that's gone and moved the other one into it. That's
Where the Presbyterian is the museum.
Oh, okay. Well, then that was the Episcopal.
Episcopal.
Yeah.
And I don't know about any others. I don't know about if the Quakers had any place that they met.
Well, the Quakers had but they weren't usually an elaborate they were kind of conservative when it come to building buildings and so on. So they used them for multiple things. So you get into some of these older buildings or houses, and then somebody on conversation say, well, this was a Quaker meeting house. And I go, really? Yeah, and then they kind of show you around and there's hints of it. You say, oh yeah, well that, I thought that was a little weird the way that staircase was opened all the way up through. Most houses aren't like that, and say, yeah, it was a Quaker meeting house. So, and then nobody ever made that into a hallway going up those stairs to upstairs. It's still an open staircase. And so it's, yeah. The Quakers apparently were the majority at one time in our community.
Well, the library was like the meeting house, but I didn't know about any other.
Oh, I didn't know what the library was.
Mm-hmm.
I go there a lot. I didn't know.
When you see the word free,
Oh, yeah. That makes sense then. That makes sense.
yeah. we have one of the pews in the museum.
Okay.
From the library, which was the Quaker.
Uh-huh.
I don't know about the academy and the Adventist room. Do you remember anything about?
That was a small school when I was growing up as a kid. It's really gotten to be a big, because now they got elementary and everything there. They did not have that. Then it was a high school, and finishing school from going to college from there. And but now it's all grades, so it's it's more community oriented. So it and we have everybody's beliefs are a little different than everybody else's. So you can say, well, that's kind of weird, but you go, well, they don't do anything on Saturday. That's the way it is. Just don't even bother. We don't even bother open on Saturday. Okay, that's fine. It's don't make any difference. No.
You graduated in what year? I'm wondering if you graduated the same year as any of the other people we interviewed.
64, I think it was. Yeah.
64.
Yep.
So there's a few older that graduated earlier that we've interviewed.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
This, of course, I grew up here. So, the community, of all of the communities around, this is as good a one as there is. Mm-hmm. My wife and I travel a lot in the wintertime with an RV. And we'll go into a place and be there maybe 6 weeks or something like that. You go to the churches and you go to the restaurants and so on. And every community has its own little nucleus of some sort. But you don't find anything better than what we've got around here. It's not like they operate smoother than we do or whatever. It's anything that's working is very similar to what's going on in this community. It's just people getting along with people.
Yes.
You mentioned politics a little bit, that you were involved in.
Oh, yeah. Can you go into that?
Well, I was town supervisor for way too long, and a committeeman way ahead of that. I have been I'm no longer a county committeeman, but I become a county committeeman in 71, I think it was, and was a committeeman up until a year ago.
Wow.
So that's a lot of darn meetings and so on. Republican Party. And the Democrat Party. I was committeeman in both of them because I flopped back and forth with who I was enrolled with, depending on who run the thing. Some of them it's easier just to back right off it, go someplace else than it is to argue it. You can argue your point from another angle that way and not have a bunch of them gang up on you, because you can't pick on, Republican can't pick on a Republican. Well, I'm not, I'm a Democrat now, so I can say anything I want, or vice versa. So it's I'm more of a feisty person than I am a teaser, I guess. If I want to say something, I'm going to say it. So
Yeah.
Good way.
But you know, the community, well, you know, it's a great community, absolute great community. I mean, we've been, as I say, my wife and I travel a lot, and most communities are good community, great communities. Once in a while, you find one that you go, this is way above us. You know, I mean, either they're living way better than we do, or they're living way above their means to try to impress somebody. I don't know what the deal is, but this community is honest as any of them are, and clean as any of them are, and as fair as any of them are, and you know, I mean, it's and the politics aren't a big rub either way. I mean, if you're Republican, you're Republican. If you're Democrat, you're Democrat, and well, they kind of leave you alone unless they want you to change your endorsement to help somebody, and so you go say, okay, I'll become a Democrat, go campaign for him and vote for him. But I can vote either way anyway. So, but yeah, it's fun working with them, actually. You get to meet people. I wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah. I know that's what my dad liked about it. Because, well, he just finished being mayor not too long ago, so.
That's a big task.
Yes.
You know, people don't understand, you do, because you see it. I mean, they have no idea how many hours somebody puts into those jobs for the little pittance that they get. They don't do it for the money. I can guarantee you that. Nobody's done it for the money, because you don't come out of there with a pocket full of money, but you've met a lot of people and feel like you did some good. So
yes.
And that's, I guess, what it's all about. So.
Yes. And I know he's always enjoyed working in politics and government. And, you know, I know being mayor of Hugo was a lot of work, but it was something he enjoyed. And I can tell you enjoyed it too. So.
You know, we had, yes, we had a great time. Actually did have a great time. I never had any real friction. That's not my way of dealing with things. So, I mean, I wouldn't say I never had somebody on the board that I didn't want to get rid of, but usually within the next election cycle, for some reason, they wouldn't get reelected. Somebody else would, you know. And so, I mean, you just have to do things quietly behind the scenes a little bit once in a while, and to make everything run smoothly. Because there's some people that just want to be obstinate about no matter what you're going to do, and that doesn't gain you anything.
No, it doesn't. So it was a pleasure, meeting and talking with you and hearing your memories.
It was my pleasure to do it. Absolutely.
Yes.
No, I think it's great. I really do. You know, I mean, look at the experience you're getting. You'll be out doing this for the citizen here pretty quick. They're looking for people right now, so go at it and have some fun with it.
Yes.
You meet some awful nice people out there in the world.
Yes, I've had a lot of fun, doing this and meeting all the people and hearing their memories.
That's what it's all about.
Yes.
I mean, you got to pick something out of it. Just working isn't the fun part of it. Actually, it's working with the.
Yes.
You know, the more you get involved and you go to a big rally someplace or something, like when my wife and Guy would go to the state convention or something like that. So there'd be 1,500 people in one room, but before you were done, you'd talk to probably 400 people. Yeah. I mean, it's just the way it is, Hey, Bob, come over here. I want you to meet so-and-so, it's just because you knew somebody someplace as you wandered around, and so it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So have fun with it.
Yes.
And do a town a good job, or the county or the state, whatever you go. But yeah, we like the town and the county. I was involved with both. Never went on to a state level because I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to give this up and be gone. But it's a lot of fun. And there's people out there that are just working night and day for us. Just absolutely working night and day for us. There's some that are doing nothing, but they're usually one-termers. It don't take long for somebody to figure out somebody's not doing anything. So quietly, they just don't get elected the next time around.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you very much, and again, thank you so much.
Well, we thank you. It was a pleasure. My pleasure.